The CDC has released travel guidelines for our clients requiring a negative COVID test before re entering the country. Oh, that's convenient. So, how are your clients reacting? How are you staving off potential cancellations? What if you had some expert agents around you that might be able to share their best practices or be a part of a conversation to come up with solutions to some of these problems? Well, cool. You're in luck. That's what today's travel think tank is all about. We're getting HUBstar experts together to share how they're getting information, how they're communicating with their clients, and how they're problem solving right now. Welcome to Travel Think Tank. It's our weekly roundtable discussion here on Travel Agent TV. I'm Pat Miller, the host of The Hub, and it's my job to kind of lead some conversations and get all the smart people on camera so we can get the answers that we need. Now, here on The Hub, this is where travel agents and travel suppliers are together under one roof. Why is that a good thing? It's good for situations like we're in right now. Here comes a big new requirement from the CDC. What am I supposed to tell my clients? Wouldn't it be great if I could turn and talk to the suppliers? That's the type of conversation we're facilitating. We're also taking action inside the group. If you're in the group or if you're not in it yet, inside the group, we've started a new topic called CDC Guidelines and New Information. So now there's a one-stop shop for information inside the hub for everything that we're hearing and all of the best practices we can get our hands on. It's now organized inside the hub. Now, just like all of our travel think tanks, if you haven't been a part of this before, we want this to be 100% interactive. So if you have a question or a comment that you'd like to inject into the conversation, awesome. Drop into the chat, let us know, and we'll bring you on. Our guests for today, they're all HUBstars. What does that mean? That means they're the experts inside our group, and we are very glad that they're here to share their knowledge. Tom Karnes, Susan Peavey, Jennifer Evans. So let's start. All right. So, Susan, we're going to start with you. You're always good about going first. It's great to see you again. So now we've got this new requirement from the CDC and a change. What is going on with your agency in light of this change?
Well, I think last Tuesday night when we saw this come over on the news, it was kind of a shock I didn't hear about it before then. And I started getting emails and texts right away from clients. And I kind of told them just to hold off. Let's see what's going on. Give it a couple days. This is, all new information. And things did change. I feel that, the communicating with the clients, not right away to scare them. So we kind of stepped back a little bit with our clients and gave it a couple of days. And I'm still giving it a little time because as you see, the hoteliers are changing. Some of the destinations are changing. New information's coming out. But I think communicating eventually or with your clients when they ask about what's going on and how we can help them feel comfortable about the testing. So I just think that trying to stay on top of it, and like you see, it changes every day. Last night, DR put out a statement that they're covering some testing. Hopefully other destinations are going to do that. There's still some hoteliers that haven't posted. So, but I think communication is key, and it's great to be able to rely on our hoteliers, our tourist boards, Travel Weekly, Travel Pulse, a lot of Facebook, communication, and our colleagues.
Yeah, we love that when the colleagues are collaborating. Let's compare notes for a second. When the announcement went out last Tuesday, how quickly were you being hit from your clients?
Probably within about 25 minutes.
Wow. And did you hear it from them first, or did you see an alert somehow?
I actually had the news on, and it came over as a big alert on the news. And I just shook my head because I had just gotten finished telling my husband that on Monday, I felt like we were back in the game. We're making bookings. It was busy. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. And then Tuesday, this hits. And it was, to be honest with you, it was discouraging because it's almost been a year now that we've been working, night and day, trying to take care of our guests. And here we go again, bookings that might cancel. So trying to keep the clients, at ease. Let's see what happens. I mean, who knows? Tomorrow's a big day in this country. Things could change. We don't know what's going to happen.
So you thought we were out of the woods. You told everyone we're done, we're good, and then this happened. So we should blame you, is what you're saying.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah,
your fault. Okay, great, Susan. Appreciate it. All right, Jen Evans, let's go to you. So what is happening with you in general in light of the CDC changes? How is it affecting you?
Actually, it's been a lot of extra work keeping up with all of the accurate information, because that's been, I think, the hardest part, is because there's so much out there, and then clients are coming in with information of their own. But to be honest with you, we have really, probably the very first day that we found out about it, I posted it immediately on our Facebook page, just so even though all my agents didn't even know about it, I posted it there so that when anybody called in, we could say, yes, we've already posted it. We're slowly getting a hold of people. So, because clients love to let you know that they know more than you. They try to tell you that. So what we tried doing is, probably after the first 24 hours of sheer panic on our side, expecting the worst, we've been trying to turn everything around to a positive, and obviously the hoteliers have been phenomenal with that. And to be honest with you, because of what they've done, we've actually had answers for our clients. Because if they had not stepped up like they did, I think that we would still be having a lot of panicking, a lot of what ifs, and we'd be like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. But because they've stepped up, they've done official statements, they've really kind of come around, we're able to actually give our clients answers quickly, which has, I think, slowed down that immediate cancellation panic mode for the clients, because we're like, this is kind of what we're doing now. People are taking COVID tests everywhere. You were able to take them there, and being able to do it on property, being able to have some of it actually paid for, knowing how much it costs, and the answer for the quarantine, because that's a big one for me. People asking, well, what if I'm positive? Having those answers has actually helped. I've had a couple kind of like asking about it, but I personally have not had anybody cancel yet. We've had very minimal in our agency so far. We've had a lot of questions, but we haven't had anybody. We had to move. Somebody moved because they were actually coming home on the 26th, and they're just like, I don't think I want to do that for the day that it starts. But other than that, I think we've really tried to keep the information going back and forth in our agency, making sure everybody is up to date with everything, and which has made it really easy to answer those questions.
Jen brings up a lot of good points. Tom Karnes, I want to ask you about something specific, but I do want your general take. How are things with you and the agency in light of the CDC change?
I think I like I'm going to reference Jen's comment. A lot of people that know a lot more than we do out there that have started, providing a lot of bad information for people that have been on the books. So we've been doing a lot of calming down, educating, and letting people know that, we do finally have some solid answers. Jen's exactly right. If you were to say a month ago, what happens if I do test positive in Mexico? What happens? We'd be like, call me. None of us really had an answer. And we now have these answers. From our standpoint, what we're seeing is we've seen a few cancellations. And a couple of the cancellations are completely illogical. They make no sense why. One person that's canceling was leaving tomorrow. They were originally going to return before any of this testing even started. They had talked to a bartender somewhere who just got back 5 days ago, had a great experience, but said, I'm not going back for a while because they're testing. And it's fighting all this bad information out there that seems to be taking the most of our time. The people that do look at us as true professionals and come in, we tell them, we explain to them, we got a whole plan in place, and they're comfortable with it. I'd say we had maybe 10% cancellation of everybody that's on the books. It's interesting because the people that have canceled, many of them are in a field where they might be in the medical field or frontline response, and where they can't be quarantined. They just can't, no matter what. And it's kind of funny because before the CDC policy came in place, they still could have got sick there. They still, it just kind of puts a definition to it finally. So those people are like, well, since there's a law, the policies are in place, we have to cancel. We can't go. On the other side of it, the people that have been on the fence about booking something, I would say 30% of them had just kind of stopped and, just let everything we quoted and everything we were working to fall by the wayside. I would say another 30% are like, oh, great, there's a plan. I now know I can go. If I get quarantined, no big deal. I can work from Mexico for 10 days or 14 days. So we kind of picked up additional bookings that might have just kind of wavered in the wind for a while from those people. And then, you know, the remaining 40% are just completely, they don't care. They don't, they're still looking to book and plan and going, and are happy with the results. So that's what we're seeing right now.
Having you and Jen and Susan on the line, plus all the agents that are watching, let's take a couple of minutes and start brainstorming some of the questions that we're hearing. It might be some of the misinformation you're hearing and how you have to correct it, or some of the things that they're bringing up to you. What are some of the questions that people are asking you? Because I think it would be a service to hear what the question is and how you're answering it. So what are some of the things that you're hearing?
We're hearing, from our standpoint, what we're hearing is, it's really the point is, if you can be quarantined, if your schedule allows you to be quarantined, or if it doesn't. To us, everything's kind of predicated on being able to be stuck in Mexico or not. Okay. I know from my sales team, we are praising. I mean, I want to take this opportunity right now to thank every one of those hoteliers that have done this. I mean, Jen and I have had conversations on the side about this. I am completely in awe of what the hotel partners have done. And my team, when selling, is obviously remembering who stepped up first, who stepped up the most. And we are using that energy and that positive message to help close deals right now. We're like, hey man, that's how bad these hotels want you there. They'll pay for this. They're creating a safe environment. This is the time to go. This is what they want you there. So that's kind of how we're dealing with some of the negative pushback about having to take a test.
That's good. Let's go to Susan. Can we hear from you? Any questions that you're hearing from your clients and how you're answering them?
So the questions, they're not really too concerned about taking the test. The timing, you know, like a lot of us, we travel for 3 nights. So what would happen when we get in a destination, we land, sometimes, I mean, are we going to test that same exact day so we can come home 3 days later? You know, a lot of people, we do a lot of 3-night stays for people, but also like Tom said, I think the overall questions are, if they do test positive, you know, some of them are teachers, some of them are frontline, they just don't have that extra time to be away. And then, you know, trying to tell people, if you do test positive, this hotelier, they are covering your stay. So you will, you know, you'll be okay without more out-of-pocket costs as well. I think when this first came out that night, I think people, the first couple of calls were like, how much is this going to cost? You know, some destinations where they're already paying for testing to go to, and now you're going to have to retest and charge. So I'm glad that the hoteliers, they came through on this really quickly. And I think it's comforting to know that. And I think our guests are happy to hear that too. I mean, it is a cost, and they have to hire staff to come in and do these tests. Another question I got was, are they going to be able to produce these tests quickly? I mean, we've had problems here in Massachusetts where testing can take up to 5 days. So people don't want to have to get stuck in destination if they can't have the test come back. But I mean, everybody's saying it's going to come back in 24 hours. I don't know. I mean, we have a hard time here getting it back. So
sure.
And then the supply and demand of the tests is another thing. Are they going to run out? I mean, it's tough. But I haven't had cancellations. I have people that are just kind of waiting and going forward because they are excited to get away again.
Yeah. Well, we're all dying to get out of here. Trust me on that. Susan, Jen, let's complete the circle here. What's the FAQ? What are you hearing from clients that maybe hasn't already been mentioned?
So a lot of what they've already talked about, I think, is the basic questions for everybody. You know, the airline questions are starting to come up now too, is what's going to happen with the, like, great, we've got the quarantine figured out, but what about the airline? And then also staying in their room? Are they going to be stuck in there during that entire time? That's another question, which some people are like, well, yay, I'm in Mexico, so you can go out on the deck or whatever. But then other people are like, I don't know if I want to be stuck there for that. And so that's the question. But like you said, this is stuff that was already in place. If they were to get COVID when they were there, it's just now it's come to the forefront. Now the people are actually asking the question. So I think those are kind of the other questions too that we've been starting to get. I know one of the girls in one of the groups just lost like 35 people in a group for a wedding that was getting ready to go. Is the bride's like, it's no longer fun. Like it's more of a pain. And I think that's a big thing too, is trying to figure out how to turn those questions into like a positive answer instead of a negative answer, because there's always just the way you answer it to them. You know, if you go negative and like how bad it is, then they're going to go automatically negative. And I think if you go positive, it helps their outlook, because I think any kind of positive response is better. You just got to kind of learn how to direct it positive, even though, you know, and that you're on top of it. Realize this only happened last Tuesday.
Right.
So like, it's not like the hoteliers moved super, super quick, but at the same time, it hasn't even been implemented yet. And people expect us to know absolutely everything about it, you know? And so trying to explain, like, you have to give it time to make sure everything is accurate. But that's why I've been going to the links and stuff as opposed to just taking the official statements, because those will stay updated, because Lord knows that people like to change their official statements every other day.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask about the suppliers in a second, but some folks in the chat brought up some other ways that they're spinning it or questions that they're getting. Sarah Klein, you're saying that you're using the opportunity as a positive. Can you explain what you put in the chat there?
I'm trying. I'm full on panic mode that night. You know, do I reach out to everybody immediately? Do I wait till I have information? And I just decided to kind of take a step back, and luckily, most of my January and February are already canceled. So I'm looking at my March to June big groups and weddings. And I kind of took a day or two just that I'm gathering information. And then I sent out the protocols and was like, look at this. Look how the hotels want to make sure you're safe and cared for and don't have to leave the property. They're going to do it for free. They're testing you on site. Like, I just tried to make it like, wow, you know, this is amazing that they're really going to do all this, even though they don't have to. That's how much they value your business. And knock on wood and everything else. Like, I've had a couple of people who are really close to the deadline delay. Kind of people I don't think probably would have ended up going anyway. This is just like a final straw, last excuse. But so far, so good on my weddings, my big groups for the spring, that they kind of took that positive and just didn't comment. Like, I was waiting for the reply of like, no way, not going. And so far we have calm.
Well, I am knocking on my rich mahogany desk for you. I mean, Walmart desk that I have right here. So hopefully that's good luck. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. Linda's in the chat, and she mentioned that people are concerned if they test positive out of the country, they might get quarantined there and they might not be able to get back fast enough to keep their job. Legitimate concern. It's great to hear from Rose Gray. Rose, welcome to the call. Can you share the questions that you put in the chat that you're hearing from your clients?
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely getting people asking more detailed questions about the experience while they're quarantined. Will I be quarantined to my room? Will they bring me room service? And that's the experience, because we can put a spin on it that it's going to be a great opportunity to stay 10 to 14 additional days in paradise. But if you are actually in your room, how positive of a spin can you put on that? And then the other question we're getting is, what about my airline tickets? You know, we all like to assume that we've got, you know, people that are on charter flights, but for us, many of them are on scheduled air. And granted, we can tell them there are no fees right now to change airline tickets, but does that mean there's a seat on the plane for you 14 days later? And will my routing be the same? And is there going to be an additional fare? And just those are the kinds of detailed questions we're getting now after the initial shock wore off.
And Rose, those are great points to bring up. And for the benefit of the group, does that just mean additional legwork where you have to contact the supplier or resort or the airline to get those answers? Is it just a case by case?
I mean, we're doing it case by case at this point, but we don't have good answers on the airline situation because that's a variable. And for the most part, yeah, they're quarantined to their rooms, and that to them doesn't sound that desirable.
Yeah, I can't put my feet in the sand from the room, so it's a little
Or I
bit
can
different.
sit on my balcony.
That's true. Well, Rose, thanks for jumping in. We appreciate it. It's great to hear from you, and please continue to contribute. So, Tom, let's go back to you for a second here. And it strikes me, and again, I'm the amateur in the room, right? I'm not a travel advisor. I'm the one watching all of this go down and just the host of the show. But I'm struck by the initial conversations that we had at the beginning of the hub where suppliers didn't seem to get the idea that we needed answers and we needed action right away because our clients are going to be asking. And it seems like this time we're getting more of those answers faster. Is that fair? Is that true?
Sure. I think that's true because of the hub. You guys asked that early on. This is all because of the hub that the hoteliers have stepped up.
I think we'll take credit for that, Tom. No problem. Change the entire industry in 6 months. No problem about that. So tell me this. Tell me about the communication strategy for your agency. So we've gotten, Susan was saying she was getting calls 20 minutes after the announcement went out. Are you being proactive, trying to tell people what's going on before they call you? And I know that you and Nolan and the rest of your team are very purposeful about your marketing and communication strategy. So what are you doing with your clients right now?
Yeah, when the announcement was made, we had a little insight. We had a little insight that it was coming down. And again, it's one of those things through a communication network of professionals that I know in high-ranking positions that were sharing this information. So we knew it was coming. We didn't necessarily, well, a day or so before, we did have an idea when it was going to happen. So the announcement was made, I believe, that Tuesday night. As I was home with COVID for 2 weeks. So I was knocked out, and I was on the phone with the team saying, calm down. We need to wait. They're like, should we get a message out immediately tonight? I'm like, no, I think Susan said it earlier. This is going to change. Everything's going to change over some time. Let's just get through the night. A couple people emailed us. We had some questions. First thing, I believe it was a Wednesday morning. We were back on the phone. I said, all right, we're going to have to get a message out. And Nolan, his idea was a video would be fantastic. So Nolan, because he's already had COVID, shows up at my house, videotapes my wife giving the details of the CDC announcement, that afternoon. So Wednesday afternoon, we have a video out on the social networks and addressing the general public, just the general public. Meanwhile, the rest of the team we've queried every pending booking between that January 26th and April 1st. Every one of the agents were given their lists. They've called every single person on that list to advise them what was going on. They emailed them, they social media, whatever it took to get a hold of this person, we did that. And even on Wednesday, things were still very tumultuous. We did not know the answers. And that's what we told them. We said, listen, this is a very fluid situation. Things are changing. Your trip is affected by it. We will have more details for you within the next 24 hours, but please understand that we know about this. We are here working for you, and we will have an answer to you as soon as we could. So that was the plan. It was a grassroots guerrilla attempt at making sure everybody that was booked was made aware of what was going on.
And when they saw that personal video, did that kind of set the tone for all of the follow-up communication?
Yes, I think, like I said, that was more for the general public. So that was for everybody. That was that was more of a public service announcement to everybody. I think the people that were booked that had seen it, the last comment in the line was, or one of the last comments was, if your travel arrangements have been affected by this, please be assured that our specialists will be reaching out to you shortly to discuss the options with you. And I think it put everybody a little bit more at ease.
That's great. Great to hear. Kim's in the chat, has an interesting client concern. Kim, can you share it and maybe how you answer that question?
Sure. First of all, I'm learning. I'm new, but I ran into a friend just the other day that told me she was going to cancel their Mexico vacation when she learned about the new testing requirements. We had a little conversation, and her concern was if I am sick, I test positive while I'm there, and I'm sick, and I can't get out because I have to stay in quarantine, that scares me because I could get sicker as the days progress. And here I am stuck in another country, and I'm not confident I can receive the kind of care that I would at home. So that was her concern.
And did you have
I didn't
an
have
answer?
an answer.
You didn't have an
I
answer.
didn't have an answer, but I'd be interested to hear what others think.
All right, well, let's role play that. Let's role play that out. My wife Abby and I were so excited to go to Mexico next week, but Susan, I'm really nervous because I might get sick. And what if I get sick? What will the medical care be like? How would you answer that question, Susan?
Well, most of the resorts are going to have staff on, doctors and nurses, so that if there is someone who's sick, I'm sure that they could get them to their room, see what they need, or if they need to go to the hospital. I don't know if I would want to be in a destination with COVID being sick, but I think the hoteliers have, reached out and said that they're going to do everything they can to make sure that that customer is comfortable. We can't really make that decision to tell them, yes, go, or they kind of have to feel it out for themselves. We can't have that responsibility and say, yeah, sure, go to Mexico, you get sick, and then, you're going to be okay, because we don't know. There's so many unanswered issues right now. I don't know. And then, you fall back on their travel insurance. They have the trip interruption, which covers medical. So at least, that part of it would be covered if they, I believe, came down with COVID, with the testing.
Yeah. And I think this is an important thing to workshop for someone that's trying to find the answers for their clients. So Jen Evans, how would you answer it if someone asked that question? What happens if I get sick? What's the medical care going to be like? How would you go about that?
I kind of answer the same way I answer any question about medical whenever you're international. So I think people have a preconceived idea of what the medical is in Mexico and places like that. There are private hospitals. There are doctors on staff at the resorts. Obviously, we don't want to make a decision for somebody if they are uncomfortable with going. We're not going to take on that liability of if they get sick and they say, well, you told me to go and this is what happened. So I always make it quite clear that you have the right to make whatever decision you want to. If you're asking me about the medical care, I personally had my 3-year-old son fall off of a bar stool and have to go to the hospital while I was in Mexico. And I had x-rays done with him, and it was private. It was a private hospital. That's just where they took me. And we did have to pay for everything up front, and came home and turned it into the insurance. The insurance reimbursed it. But I felt completely comfortable with my child being at that hospital, getting the x-rays on his head. And obviously, we know that COVID's a thing. You don't know when an accident's a thing. So you're going into another country with the same idea of, will something happen? Will not? That's what they call an accident, or something that's not expected is something that's not expected. So you're still trusting that medical system to take care of you if something happens when you go. So you're still taking on that liability when you go to another country, that if something were to happen, to expect their medical care to take care of you. So COVID to me is not any different from that, but you still have to make the decision on going, whether or not, if something does happen, if you're willing to have their medical care. And that's real. And I always recommend the insurance, because no matter what, something can happen.
Yeah. And I think you make a good, go ahead, Tom, go ahead.
On top of what Jen said, one of the things that we tend to forget about pushing and promoting is our DMCs, our land operators. All that bad news and negative news that Mexico was getting years ago about people getting sick or this or that, and people getting stuck and exploited at hospitals and things like that. The missing link there was the DMCs, was the Lomas, was the HUBstar, was all the companies that are there taking care of our clients as well, which are an extension of our agencies. So from a selling standpoint, from a travel agent, we promote that a lot. So when the topic comes up, what if I fall off a bar stool? What if I get sick? You know what? There's a group of individuals that are down there that are going to make sure they're going to do the best thing for you. And those are our DMC people. Those are the people that we would contact to make sure your best interests are covered, your health is covered. And that's something we don't take lightly. We promote that and let our clients know that you're not on your own. You're not just going to have to ask the maid at the hotel, hey, I fell down, and I can't get up. Call somebody. There is, our first thing we tell them is reach out to Lomas, get a hold of Lomas, get a load of AMC, whoever your DMC is, and have them, they're going to follow you. They're going to take accountability for you, and they're going to track you. So that's one of the things we definitely like to make sure we advise people of.
Tom, how did you know I was concerned about falling off a bar stool? Because I was actually concerned.
I definitely got a party with Jen. If her kid's falling off a bar stool, I can only imagine.
That's DMCs is a really good point, though. Thank you for bringing it up. Rose, if you're still with us, I want to ask you, because I know that you're an ambitious world traveler and you've led groups all around the world. If someone asked you about care in country, especially Mexico, how would you answer it?
Pretty much the same as everybody's saying, that we only use preferred vendors. We have faith in our preferred vendors. We honestly sell very, very little these days without insurance, and we make darn sure that the policy matches the customer. And so, but the other thing, I guess, that I wanted to type, and I started getting very long-winded, so I'm glad you gave me another opportunity to speak. I think it's very critical as an industry that we continue to let our customers know that their comfort level is paramount in our minds, and that we would never in our wildest dreams try to talk them into something, try to encourage them to do something that didn't make them feel comfortable. Because after all, what is a vacation? It is supposed to be a stress-free experience where you relax. And if all you're going to have is anxiety prior to, during, and maybe after the experience, that's not what we want for you. We want to work with you to help you determine that comfort level, and then we will respect that.
And that's the true benefit of using an advisor. We know who to go to and who not to go to, and we'll put you at a place that we trust. I want to follow up on something you put in the chat. Are you really getting questions about the accuracy of the antigen test?
I feel like I should have gone to medical school, because I now know molecular, nasal, saliva, antigen, because the customers are reading that antigen tests are notorious for false positives. They're concerned about it.
Wow, that's amazing. And who knew that we would be talking about that while we're talking about transfers and airline seats? We're also talking about nasal swabs. It's a radical place that we're in. Thanks, Rose, for weighing in. I appreciate it. I want to go to Jennifer Waldron here for a second. So you and a couple other folks in the chat have talked about getting a test before you go. Tell me about what you're thinking there, and why is that important to advise people, or why are you advising people to do that?
Well, I've got people down there right now in Cozumel. Actually, I've got a family of about 7, and they voluntarily went and got tested prior to going. I didn't tell them to go. They just went and got tested. And then whenever they saw the news about this happening, it just kind of clicked that maybe that's something that we need to be telling our clients to do. It is something that there is that incubation period of when you do get it, or whenever you do end up coming up positive, but it might be something to where you can, the day prior, go in, get tested. I know here in Oklahoma, we can go in and get a rapid test, and it does, we can get our actual test back that day. So I don't know about some of the other states that you guys are in. It might be a little bit harder for you guys. Maybe do it 72 hours, 48 hours prior to. But that might relieve a little bit of the stress on these clients as well. Another thing, I know this is going a little bit off subject, but I'm writing my congressmen and my senators as well about all of this. So I just encourage all of you guys to do that as well. Just to reach out to them to, we need to be doing our testing here in the United States upon arrival back into the United States on US soil. I don't feel like that we should be, that these countries should be, that our our clients shouldn't be having to do our clients shouldn't be getting tested in these countries. Upon arrival back into the country, have them be getting tested here. And then that way, if they end up coming up positive, they can quarantine at home. So I was speaking with Jennifer Donchez earlier, and I was already writing up a letter to my senator and sending it out to my ICs to have them send it off. And so maybe if you guys want to see the letter that we have wrote up, I would be more than happy to send it on to you guys. The more that we get the word out to them, the better. So
well, that would be great.
Definitely post the draft in the hub. That way we can all take a look at it. Let's be purposeful again and crowdsource something here. Where are you getting your information? So Tom Karnes, let's go back to you. What are you doing to stay on top of the changing situation? And is there a resource that you're paying attention to?
As an agent, we're inundated with emails from very reputable companies with very reputable articles. So right off the bat is seeing what's coming in through these reputable travel medias that we subscribe to. The one thing I stay the farthest away from, Facebook. Facebook is just, I know it goes against everybody's concept that, what's on Facebook is true, but we do kind of keep it away from Facebook. But what we find to be the most informative and idea forming are networks. I know my wife is on a couple different WhatsApps with a bunch of different travel professionals. And once that starts lighting up, you're going to start getting a feel of exactly not only what the policy change might be, but what other people are doing about it and how it might be able to benefit our clients. Lamakia, we just started a brand called Lamakia Jetstream, which is a host agency. And we have a large number of independent contractors working through us. And we've established, again, a news flow through them. And it's the same thing. So when things are coming in, they're adding to it, we're adding to it. And it's great because people are proofing it. It's not just what Tom says. No, people are proofing it. They're trying to find the legitimacy of it. So, in a nutshell, it is the travel media magazines, the government websites, and really more for an applicable resource would be the tour operators and the hoteliers' websites themselves, or BDMs. Yeah. And then that network of professional, intelligent, non-emotional, overreacting individuals that you communicate with in a consistent and effective manner.
That's great, Tom. And Nolan dropped a link in the chat. Thank you, Nolan, the CDC guidelines page that ALG created. So you can grab that link as well. Susan, let's go to you. How do you combat what Uncle Joe said on Facebook that your client is referencing? Do you just call it out for what it is or try and convince them with the articles you have? I mean, that happens, right?
Yeah, I think that with people on Facebook, I know Lori Gold has put together a grid of all the hoteliers and what they're doing. So I was cutting and copy and pasting what is there and kind of like showing the client, like, this is what the hotel's doing. This is what they're going to, provide for you at no additional cost and where your testing is going to be. But I wanted to go back to what Tom said. I'm a member of ASTA, and ASTA is actually lobbying right now to try to get this whole bill pushed forward. They were saying that, this came out so quickly, people didn't have enough time to really, respond to it. And they're trying to get it to be pushed off until a month later in February to give people time to really, go through this and, see what's going on. So I think ASTA, I'm not sure who else is members, but I think they do a lot for the travel agents, with lobbying and changing bills and different things. So
yeah. A good tip. And a good tip about Lori Gold's grid. We got to get her to put that up inside the hub so we can get access to it. Jen Evans, is there anything that's been mentioned or hasn't been mentioned that you're paying attention to as far as getting good information for you and your clients?
I'll be honest, I've actually been probably one of the ones for my agents and agents around my area that has been the one posting everything, because I refuse to look at anybody's posts except for there's one group that Monica and I are both a part of too, that we're all getting legit information and accurate information on par. And then I'm moving it to my agent's site, and I'm rechecking everything through the official links of all the hoteliers, because I don't think we can get any more accurate than actually on their site what they are posting. And instead of posting even the official statements, I've been posting their links, because they change, you know, and so making sure that that's really where I'm getting a lot of that. And if I have any questions, I have specific places that I go and ask agents that I know, actually, you know, like Karnes or Waldron, or like everybody that I know is going to look for accurate information. Those are the people that I'm going to go to, are the ones that I know are agents that know what they're talking about and are not just going to throw out information. I haven't even touched all the travel agent sites that are out there right now. I haven't even looked at them, because I know that from what I understand, they're going kind of nuts and going everywhere. And so, but for me, I'm going straight to the hotel links and rechecking everything, because I am passing out a lot of that information. I need to make sure what I'm doing is accurate.
And that's good. Proof it, right? And I want to encourage everyone inside the hub. If you see something, say something, post it in the hub. The main feed is there for you to share something. So when you get something and it's validated, you know it's good info, post it. Because when you post it in the community, we all get better.
And I agree on the ALG. They have a really good, they're trying to keep up with their Excel spreadsheet right now, showing about the antigen test, showing about who's doing the quarantines and all that kind of stuff, and keeping up with that. So that's been really good too.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it, Jen and Tom and Susan, for your conversation. Everyone else that jumped in as well. Let's throw it over to Tom Brousseau. So, Tom, we had a well-rounded conversation here talking about a changing subject and a moving target. Is there anything we haven't covered that you want to bring up?
No, an awesome conversation, and thank you to Jen and to Tom Karnes and Susan Peavey for being on the call today, and for everybody else that came to the think tank. This really demonstrates the knowledge and expertise that we have to share. This is a tough situation. I mean, we've all been down this road before, and like Susan, I was feeling like, hey, you know what? We're turning the corner, and I feel like, bookings are starting to come in, and my optimism level is growing. And then news like this comes down, and now we all have to retrench, regroup, lose sleep, and we're back to that sort of client cancellation anxiety. So this really helps me to kind of listen to how people are handling it. I think we're all going to get through this again, just like we did before. So I think now more than ever too, it really does demonstrate the value of working with a travel agent. I can't imagine a client that's out there that booked their trip online or, through Costco or something like that, trying to figure this out for themselves without the benefit of an agent. So Rose Gray hit the nail on the head. I mean, our travel expertise has now transformed into some medical expertise and the understanding of COVID testing and all these intricacies. So my hat's off to all you guys, and what we do every day for our clients. It's pretty amazing.
Well, it was a great conversation. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Tom, can we switch gears real quick? Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Group Business Generator and how we're partnering with suppliers with Travel Agent TV?
Sure. So, we, as have been kind of working on bringing things into the positive and bringing new opportunities and experiences. And that's what the Group Business Generator is all about. I think you guys have probably seen some of the initial opportunity that we have out there with Randy Otts and his event, his music event down in Mexico at the beginning of March. And more things like that are coming. We feel that this collaborative group opportunity is really a great opportunity for how we can create unique client experiences, and then all of us can sell into them and have the benefit of the expertise that the originating agent brings to the party. So, we want to do more of those. We got a little sidetracked here in the last week or so, but we want to get back on that, because that's where the revenue opportunities are. That's where the really the interesting travel opportunities for the clients are, that are going to get them, fired up about going. So more to come on that, and love to have all your thoughts too as we go forward with how we can do these group opportunities in a great way. And then finally, and I'll wrap, but as hopefully you guys all know, this Travel Think Tank, and our overall video strategy has morphed into a YouTube channel called Travel Agent TV. So if you have not yet subscribed to Travel Agent TV on YouTube, please do. But we are definitely taking a different, more aggressive and stronger approach to creating content, video content for travel agents on YouTube, in a place where you can search it, where you can find it, where programs like this or interviews like this can be found, or unique content that we're generating. Sarah Klein is actually doing a 4-part romance travel series, the first of which is already up on Travel Agent TV. I know Jen Waldron is kicking around some ideas. I got some thoughts for a couple more of you guys, but it's really a great way for us to really catalog and promote, and a place for this really good video content to live in one centralized place. And in addition to that, for our suppliers, really a great opportunity for them to get out there and create some promotional content. And we have some interviews coming up at the end of this week and next week to start to integrate some supplier content into the mix.
Yeah, Travel Agent TV was really shown off in the last week. So Tuesday, the announcement goes down. Wednesday, we're on camera with Peter Wells from Dragon Slayer and Senora Dolores from Grupo Lomas. And we cut a video right away and got it up before 1 o'clock the next day. And it took off. It really started to launch the channel's momentum. And then today, our conversation, which is a workshop by agents and suppliers for agents and suppliers. And we're really trying to make sure that Travel Agent TV is a B2B channel. We're not going to be doing Instagram models. I mean, outside of me being an Instagram model, of course, but Instagram models on the beach, like calling that travel video. We're going to do work for agents and suppliers by agents and suppliers. So the opportunity for you right now, what do you want to be known for? What's your specialty in the industry? And let's shoot some videos and put it out on YouTube. We're happy and excited to collaborate with you. Just reach out to us. And yes, the Destination Wedding Series with Sarah Klein, she was fantastic. We've got 3 of those videos that are ready to go. A big thank you to—
You are fantastic. You make it so easy. It's just like sitting there having a conversation. So you're amazing. Thank you.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. So yeah, don't stress, because it's all recorded ahead of time, and it's we try and make it easy. So thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Big thanks to Tom Karnes, Susan Peavey, and Jennifer Evans, our HUBstars, for coming on today. Everybody else that jumped in, it's been a great day for Travel Agent TV and a great conversation here on Travel Think Tank. I'm Pat Miller, host of The Hub. We'll see you next time.